Nations are not only conquered by force, they may be softened by confusion, divided by suspicion, and weakened by stories dressed as truth. This is your signal. This is your warning. This is your invitation to listen. The Trunk Tales with Drew Lemax and Sergeant Major Kenneth Ramos. The subject is psychological operations. The hour is now.
All right. I wanted to do the dramatic, like fat electrician does.
Oh, did you want to close that? I'm about to say, yeah. Did you have extra lights? Did you want to close that curtain behind you so that way there's not a rear facing glare?
No, it actually, I mean, I don't know how it looks for you, but on my end, it's basically perfect. So I actually have the upgraded version of the camera that you have.
Okay.
I have the Facecam 4K or whatever, Elgato Facecam 4K.
Yeah. I've had that. The Elgato cameras are the best, man. So
on my end, I'm actually capturing 4K 60. And then for yours, I think Video Ninja restricts it to 1080p, but I'm upscaling you to 4K, 30. So then when I actually edit this together later, so right now, as you can see, and I am already recording, so maybe I'll leave this in as like bloopers. So OBS right here is recording us side by side.
Yeah.
But I'm also capturing each of us and our audio independently so I can scene switch if it comes to that.
Right. And well, I could tell it's coming in good because I could see the resolution of the TV really clear behind
That's
you.
good.
Yeah.
So. It's like an expensive TV, so
no, it looks fucking nice, man.
I lucked out on this thing. We had just sold my old house and got, my giant check from selling the house. And my wife and I went to Costco for something. And it was before we moved here. So it was we were renting a house in Wilmington and we went to Costco and they had like the little sign that was like manager's deal. Mm-hmm. And it was like only until they're sold out, like they're not going to restock this product. And it was like so I got it in 2024, but it was the 2023 model. Mm-hmm. And it was marked down from $4,700 to $2,000 on the dot. Mm. And the reason they did that is because at 2,000 even and above, you get their free 3-year Allstate protection plan. Yeah. And so we walked in and I was like, I had been wanting an OLED TV for a long time. It was never in the budget. And I saw it and I was like, we had my truck because I think we were getting like dog food and stuff. And I was like, babe, we're going back and we're getting the Suburban. We're coming back and getting this. We left. We get back to Costco and there's another couple looking through the aisle and the person that we talked to had already pulled the box out for us. And so the only one that they had was like the display one left other than the boxed one that we were getting.
Yeah, you were getting, yeah.
Yeah. And she like loaded it up on the cart and the other sales girl that was like working in that area, she was like, oh, this couple was looking for that. And I was like, sorry. I was like, I'm not giving this up.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Trunk Tales. We are excited to be back here today. Welcome to my new set, my office studio, hangout room. Cool guy over here hanging out with us. And then of course, Ken, Mr. TheIOGuy, Grand Admiral of Propaganda.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, great having you on here. I know we've been talking about this. When I was looking for your email, because I didn't want to ask you for it because I knew I had it. Mm-hmm. But I have this. So typically, like I go in my inbox and even if I don't have it saved as a contact, I can just type in somebody's name real quick and it'll pop up. Mm-hmm. And it didn't come up. And I was like, why is this not coming up? So I went through my calendar. I just went back to find the invite. And then I was like, oh, because it's not his name. That makes complete sense. I'm not saying it on here for obvious reasons, but.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I'm glad to be here, man. This is like you said, this has been for some time in the making, and I'm looking forward to it. Because you always, I think, with my last appearance, I think we could have gone on another 2 hours of other questions because we went into another topic. So it was good stuff.
Yeah, so. Grimsy would always tell me after some of our longer episodes, he's like, man, my social battery's like, I can't like have a conversation this long with people. And I'm like, I get it, man. I understand.
Yeah. Like, well, it was good. It was going good. I think we were over tangenizing each other. I mean, we were like, oh, and then we could have gone, like I said, we could have gone a lot longer because it was great. So
yeah,
good talks.
That's the thing that I think people don't really understand with not just the podcast format, but even just a general interview format and things like that in general is if you don't have like a structure or a script, or even if you do have a structure or a script, sometimes the story benefits from just letting it kind of run on for a little bit.
Right.
But then there's sometimes when you're like, come on, man, this is not what I tuned in for. Move on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it also, I mean, some people, somebody, I mean, I said this on our podcast on the Monday edition at WTF Nation Radio. I said that there's just some influencers that are not good podcasters, but there are some podcasters that are not good influencers. You know, they're stuck to being a podcaster or broadcaster, whatever you want to call them, and they're great at it. They have the gift of gab. They're able to blah, 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 blah. But then when they try to do content creation, they're like dad joke. I can't do it. I can't sit there and do the hi guys and do whatever with the other influencers. And they're all energetic and they have their own little thing. For me, I don't know. For some reason, I just can't do it. So people got like, what do you mean? I think I'm a good podcaster and a good influencer. And bro, that's not what I meant. What I meant was some people just can't do that. It's just that switch, you know?
And I also think, so, you know, everybody always says, you know, you have to reach like those, unless you're big already. Like if you are coming from another type of media or you're already famous in some capacity or work for some major organization where they can just say, hey, our 10 million people on wherever, now we have a podcast. Unless you're that, you have to go through that long duration of figuring out who you are, who your audience is before the algorithm generally, I mean, there's some people that figure out ways around it before it'll generally promote you. Like my other show, which my wife and I haven't filmed or posted since June of last year, since after we moved to this house. We moved here May 1st or April 30th or whatever of last year. We filmed a couple episodes here downstairs where the last episode you and I had was at. And then we just kind of didn't do it. Like she was busy, I was busy, and it just didn't really pan out. But we hit that time in YouTube in account age where it just started throwing us out there periodically, because we had a handful of episodes that had done tens of thousands of views already. So it was kind of trickling some of those in, you know, and even on my personal account, scrolling through here on the TV the other day, one of the videos from this channel showed up, an old video from like September or something like that. So we're starting to get to that point where the account age is there and it's kind of saying, oh, even though you've already watched this, maybe you want to watch it again.
Right. Yeah.
So my wife and I's show has done over 1 million views in the last 12 months without posting a video.
See, that's what trips me out, is because U.S. Army WTF Moments has been around since 2010. WTF Nation, 2010, and then about 2016, 2015 is when WTF Nation Radio. Dude, we barely get any views. I mean not, and it's like, dude, we've got like almost 20 fucking years of media on that thing. I mean, memes, posts, jokes, and stuff like that. And it's just like some views will hit, like you said, some views will be like great. Some podcasts will be good, but then others just like, dude, hello. Well, also because we were shit posting during the COVID era. Also, we post shit about guns. We don't kind of go to care, but YouTube really restricts a lot of content if you got several strikes, which we have during the COVID times. Before the dark times, there was times where you couldn't say vax, and
you couldn't say the word news. I remember,
yeah, exactly.
There's a channel, they completely changed their channel name and everything because of it. It was Level 1 Techs. They're basically they're like me, but a whole like magnitude more nerdy than I am.
Yeah.
Related to like IT and Linux and things like that. And they had a podcast. It was just called the Level One News Show or something like that. And they ended up changing the name of it because if you said the word news during that time, you would basically be shadow banned in a way. It wasn't like a strike or anything. They just wouldn't show you at all.
Yeah.
So they changed it to the level 1 show. And then when they would talk about it, they would call themselves Links with Friends. Because it was like they were talking about these topics and they're going through like their bookmarks, and they would put all the links to their sources in their description. So yeah, it's one of those things where you can be a channel or an account that always follows the trends and always figures out when the new thing happens. The problem with a lot of those channels, obviously, is that you lose the loyal people that were like, they came for this and then you changed, and they're like, come on, man, like I liked you when you were this.
Yep.
But just like in anything else, people, this example will never die, will never go away. Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes.
People get so mad that the halftime show is not what the football fan wants to see. And I'm like,
right.
That's why they're not trying to, you're already watching it. They don't want you. You're already there. They want your family. They want your wife. They want your kids. They want the trendy people who don't typically watch football to become a new audience.
Right. Exactly.
And then,
it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like army recruiting. It's almost like how some of the content when from we have a younger audience that like, cause you'll see it. Army recruiters is like, several other army recruiting initiatives we can talk about, but it just, this doesn't resonate. Well, you're not the fucking audience, dude. You're it's appealing to an 18, 19, 17, 18, 19. There's even, we reported that U.S. Army Recruiting Command was going to 15, 16-year-olds, going even further back on the age to grab that appeal. So you're right. It's like you're not the target audience. Oh, well, target audience. That's the subject of our freaking target of our our stories today with the first episode of the PSYOP tales or PSYOP talk or whatever.
And I will say, like growing up, right? Like everyone always talked about how Top Gun was such a good recruiting movie for the Navy, and it never like made sense to me as a kid. I was like, why would anyone join the Navy after watching Top Gun? Like, that's dumb. I liked the movie, but I wasn't like going to go get in line to join the Navy because of it.
Yeah.
But watching war stuff with this one right here, he's like a total war historian, man. Like he could tell you, every piece of armor, every piece of artillery that was used in every battle, especially around World War II era. He knows the people, the places. We live right outside of Wilmington, North Carolina, so we go to the battleship all the time. He knows like where they were hit. He knows like all the history about the ship. We're supposed to be getting a submarine soon too in the museum.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that'll be cool.
A World War II submarine or a recently retired.
What are we getting? Huh? World War II submarine.
World War II submarine. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Cool.
But like it's really cool, and we've been there enough times where they've convinced us to join their like friends and family. There's a name for it. I can't think of what it's called, but like this guy right here, he's still a decade out, but I'm sure he's going to be the one. He's going to want to join. And I am going to edit him out of the video.
Yes, he's smiling. It's his face.
I try so hard to convince him not to go Navy. I'm like, look at those bunks, man. You don't want to sleep that.
Look at the chow, or look at the, it depends. Some ships got good chow, some ships don't. So, or boats. But
I'm already trying those psychological games on him. I'm like, come on, man. Like you can get the cushy job, like, and the thing that's nice about the military in general, which I don't think that a lot of people talk about this, is that there are positions like medic, for example, that I was, where you can basically be anywhere. Like my parents, because I scored so high on the ASVAB, the recruiters just like, pick whatever you want. And at the time when I joined, the bonus for EOD was $100,000 for 6 years. To an 18-year-old, $100,000 for a 6-year contract. You're like, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, exactly.
And my parents are like, well, think about what you're going to do after you get out of the Army. Pick something that'll transfer out, or you'll have education for. So I went medic, and then I didn't continue in the medical field. I went to school for it after I got out, but I just abandoned it wholesale. So it was one of those things where, like, if you're having an honest conversation with your kid, and, just like pick the thing that you think that you're going to enjoy doing and not regret while you're in.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that one of the reasons why my parents did want me doing EOD was, they're like, oh, we don't want you to be in a hazardous situation, as a medic. And the recruiter's like, oh yeah, he might be like in a clinic or whatever. And then here I am with MPs and then Rangers.
Exactly. Oh, it'll be great. Remember, man, recruiters are never truthful. Oh, you'll just be in a whatever. Oh, is there a little echo in the back? Like, you have another speaker playing with me in the background?
Is it echoing now?
Test. Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. Test. Barely.
Yeah, I don't hear it at all, and it's not coming up on the deck.
I can hear it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're not hearing it, then okay. Now I'm not hearing it. This is so freaking weird. It's the aliens, dude.
Yeah. All right, so
aliens are coming in.
Yeah, so I rambled. Actually, real quick before we really get into the PSYOP stuff, the history of PSYOP and everything like that. I saw some guys yesterday because somebody to register a .gov domain, you have to be a U.S. government entity. Like you can't just be anybody. You have to be in some official capacity. I don't know. I haven't looked at all of ICANN's rules, but I know it has to be like an official request to ICANN to register a .gov domain. Whoever registered aliens.gov has been screwing with people. Yesterday, I saw people talking about how, they were reaching an unsecure site. They were trying to visit the domain and it just didn't have an SSL certificate loaded or anything like that yet. So I went and looked at the DNS information, and they had basically just been hopping it around from different hosts. They were just pointing it at random IP addresses. They don't actually have any services set up with a host. And the host that I was on yesterday was Automatic, which is the company that creates WordPress. And I was like, the US government is not just going to use, out of the box WordPress on WordPress hosting. They might use WordPress in some capacity, but it'll be on some sort of US government server hosting somewhere. Even if it's something goofy, even if they're just trying to troll people, it's not going to be on some unofficial network. But man, these people were going down a rabbit hole. They're like, oh my gosh, we're like, what are they hiding? There's no SSL certificate. I'm like, you guys know if you just click on advanced and then click proceed, it'll still take you to whatever it's pointing at.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because part of some of the tactics, techniques, and procedures of what social media exploitation or any of those types of stuff that we would use in influence activities does involve things like that. And so that's for further episodes. But yeah, I saw that and everyone's asking me if I had something to do with that. Mike, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, like legit, I don't know. Someone sent me the link. We kind of did a couple of giggles, and then I'm like, first off, I'm just waiting. I don't know, dude. The whole discussion about the alien talk and all that. People are now jumping into the religious. I think it's a bunch of demons. I think it's this. I think it's that. I'm like, bro, what?
I'm dead set on the fact that I think DHS owns it, and they're going to use it for some sort of ICE portal, like some sort of immigration control, something like that.
That's actually genius. Aliens.gov. That's actually that's pretty genius. Yeah. Aliens.gov. Yep, exactly.
So
man.
And in the same vein, I think he's a Democrat out of I believe he's a Democrat, and I believe he's out of Florida. I can't remember what his name is. He's kind of like one of those people that just kind of came out of nowhere. But he registered the domain Nazi.us and he redirected it to the DHS.gov website. But the thing that people don't know apparently, and it tells you when you register a .us domain, you cannot use, or NTLD, so new top level domain. When you register a .us NTLD, you are not able to use registration privacy. It's not available. It doesn't happen at all. So
exactly. Yeah.
Your name, your phone number, your email address, your address, everything is all available. So he was like, oh, look, Nazi.us goes to DHS.gov. And we're like, dude, you bought the domain yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. You did it. You know, somebody got mad at one of our posts at US Army WTF Moments and used a fake link of US Army WTF or WTFM. I can't like, or WTF something. They put something on there because they didn't like what we posted, or we were posting some shit. And they directed it to like a women's sexual harassment, sexual assault crisis hotline. And I'm like, dude, you guys are, I mean, this is, dude, that was during the mill Twitter times where it was just fucking, people were just so fucking petty about everything. And somebody did that to spite us. And we're like, dude, you know, we were able to find out, yes, exactly. And the name wasn't like, and then of course everyone's like, oh yes, it's great win. That you showed them, you know. I'm like, oh my fucking God. So yeah, no, exactly, man. I think the alien stuff, I'll be honest with you, like I know President Trump is discussing the release of alien files and all that. Hey man, I just want to see some Epstein convictions. I just want to see some anything happen. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to see some fucking perp walks. I want to see some people, you know, going out and being told that they are being, you know, arrested, or, you know, website seized or something. I don't know. We just get hand waving fucking briefings and stuff like that. So I don't, you know. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, if an alien shows up and says, "Hey, Ken, you shouldn't have shit talked us. You know, you should have believed us." Okay, then I'll believe you. But you know, I mean, I'll do the cope. You know, mea culpa after that. So
yeah, I don't know. I've always been of the mind where I think that it's like, I'm sure there's some sort of bacteria on other planets. Yep. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, ambulatory, walks on 2 legs or 4 legs, human-esque figures. I think people just are too much like gray man walking around, you know, picking people up and abducting them and probing them and everything like that. And I don't know.
Yeah, I think our own psyche puts them as a human-like entity, but I'm like you, like, I don't know. You want to think about the, I mean, I think of there's this one movie, I can't remember what it's called, Life Form or something like that, where they pull an alien life form off a planet, and I think it was Mars, and it's almost like a blob, and it's almost blob, or the Thing, something like the Thing, you know what I mean? Yep. That's what I'm or H.R. Giger's, you know, any H.R. Giger alien design, you know, from all the alien movies and stuff like that, the xenomorphs or the protomorphs or whatever. That, you know, those little sludge little monsters and stuff like that. That's what I'm scared. I'm like, I'm seeing something like that. I'm not seeing no ship come down and all of a sudden, oh, we come in peace, and then take me to your leader, and then you're like, oh, and then, you know, everyone's gonna fight to be the leader, but then but it ends up being like, I don't know, like a rock hitting. It's like the Blob, you know, and everyone turns into zombies or something, you know, almost like a fungus. Ooh, like what was that? The Last of Us. So. Yep. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. Again, I'm at this point, I'm just at the standby mode now on anything. Just see what happens. So,
yeah. So, going back, you know, I mean, you can basically tie everything. I mean, marketing as a profession is just PSYOPs.
Yeah.
But if we want to really talk about the meat and potatoes of it, but you know, like what people actually associate with PSYOPs, like psychological warfare, psychological operations in war and wartime scenarios. The history kind of, I mean, it goes back as far as war does. Really, it just really didn't have a defined term.
Correct.
It was what can we do to trick the other guy to maneuver the wrong way or whatever.
Well,
and now,
I mean, ancient times, ancient times, like, you know, Alexander the Great and freaking, you know, Genghis Khan, it's shit like that. That's like standard storytelling. You know, you hear myths, word of mouth type stuff. You know, there's this legend, you know, we even say that right now. We don't have it written down, but we talk about it online about specific legends of certain areas. Like, you know, like, with the cryptids, you know, like Sasquatch or something like that. There's a legend out there that blah, 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 blah. And then, and then, yeah, that's generally back in the war times. And these monsters, I mean, that's why, I mean, everyone laughs at the movie 300, the movie that was a comic book adaptation of Frank Miller's comic. The reason why I tell people just to watch the way the movie is done and the way the story is told is because it's being told as if it's someone sitting down talking about it and relaying the rumors of the Persian military, all the monsters and all the the immortals and all. Everyone's like, oh my God, these are monsters. They have this, they have that. Holy crap, they're this. They're, oh man, this is, they have elephants with 15 trunks and shit like that, or rhinos that can talk. That literally is that mysticism of PSYOP, that you have that rumor that, holy crap, he was 10 feet tall and he was just slaying freaking Spartans left and right. You go through the Battle of Thermopylae and you're like, oh, that was it. That's the actual battle, like the actual studying of tactics and stuff like that. You're like, oh, okay, well, all right, got it. All right, that really didn't happen like that, but okay.
It makes you think. So like you've seen the memes where it's like the Chinese soldier in formation that's crying, and it's like he sees his buddy getting ripped apart by the 6'6", 225-pound guy from Iowa or whatever. He's like got the tear in his eye.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, right.
But it makes you wonder what the non-American who's never been to America, maybe never even met an American before, what that person who's not perpetually on X or social media in general, what they really think of the fact that America has basically the monopoly on firearm ownership, and we're all 8 feet taller than you.
Yep.
And even though you have a much greater population, you could never get them here. Like, we can reach out and touch you. You could send some bombs over and things like that, but realistically, we can be on your home front pretty quickly. I really wonder what goes through their mind, because the people that you see interacting with us, Southeast Asia App Store, stuff like that, like they're basically
Southeast Asia App Store, India, Thailand, Pakistan, you know what? You bring up a good point, because just recently, Elon released the open translation to other regions for other communities, and right now, the Japanese have hit American X users by storm. And the reason why is because they've been sharing exactly what you just said. They picture us 8 feet tall, cornbread. You have 15 wives, 15 million guns. You have these ranches and property. You have horses and cattle that will do everything for you. I mean, you have great barbecues. That literally is what, I mean, that's their vision of us. Hey, we heard, the Japanese themselves, men and women, are just, they're showing, hey, look, I can dress like a cholo. Hey, look, I'm dressing like a Southern person, or I'm a cowboy. Hey, look, we do quick draw too. Even though our weapons are not allowed in Japan, we have these airsoft versions, and we could do battle drills too. We can hang out with you. I'm like, what the? It's that you're 100%. That's what they see of us, because now the gate's been open with X, that's how they're seeing. I'm curious to see, it's almost like because now I'm starting to see Russian, like translated from Russian, translated from Arabic, translated from stuff on there too. So I kind of I'm wondering, okay, now what are they seeing of us now? What are they, the Russians seeing of us? Because we always, I'll see a Russian account on X and I'll shit post on it, fuck you, whatever, stupid Ivan, Wolverines or something like that. And then they get all mad, and then you don't see them anymore. You rarely see them again. Yep. Now they're just like starting to hit the timeline just like the Japanese are. So it's like you were saying.
The thing that I thought was really funny was, as soon as the Japanese, and I wonder like what they did to make it only be Japan and America first. Like, what? I don't even understand why that would be the first one that you would pick. Like, I guess like we're not really similar culturally. I mean, I guess they're kind of more westernized than most Asian countries, but like, why not? I guess I don't know where else they would have picked, but it was just,
it's almost like they got a dartboard and went, bat, Japan. And then that was it,
But the first thing that I noticed is the majority of the accounts that weren't just talking about food, like the car culture ones, right?
Yes.
They were hardcore into like American muscle cars. And I'm like, that's hilarious to me.
And
because you got guys like Shroomsy, right? in his Honda Civic Type R.
Yep, exactly. Fast and the Furious, freaking Nissan Red Lines, R lines, or whatever.
All of his anime stuff and everything like that,
exactly.
and Cav and like they're like diehard. They're like, we're just like you, and then they're like, actually, we like American cars.
yeah. And it's funny because we think that, oh, don't you guys like this? And they're like, no, we don't like our shit boxes. We like your cars. We like, look what we did with our 63 Impala. And then I'm thinking, how the fuck did you get a 63 Impala over there? Yep. You know what I mean? So yeah, exactly, man. It's incredible.
All right.
It's like I say, it's those perceptions. It's that reputation. You know what I mean? A reputation in war, a reputation as citizenry, a reputation in what we do and how we talk and all that. Because they're fascinated by us. Because if you look at some of the Asian films, anyways, they I will just say right now they're killing the Godzilla series now because they updated all the Keiju movies and stuff, and it's to more current filming technologies, and it's just incredible. Watching Godzilla -1, watching Godzilla 1. I mean, it's just, you're like, damn, dude. And everyone like, oh yeah, Godzilla, blah 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 blah. Their underlying message. What is the underlying message of Godzilla? Anti-nuclear war, anti use of atomic weapons. That's I'll say it right now. That's the influence message. I don't like saying this is a PSYOP, that's a PSYOP. I don't like saying that because that's not the term that we use. That's why when you say that, PSYOPers go, that's a.
No, yeah, I completely understand. I mean, there's stuff like that, within every industry, right? Like when people are talking about, I'm trying to think of a good example from like technology, and it's evading me right now, but just when you're using the like more narrow term, but to cover the broad scope, that's when people are like, nah, it's not really that, because it's nuanced, right? Like you're not gonna. I mean, there are some people who blatantly will be like, I want communism. I'm gonna do everything to bring communism. But the real people who are working towards that are chipping away slowly, doing small things here and there, the right person saying the right thing at the right time, capitalizing on either a success or a tragedy of some kind.
Big time. Big time.
Like a perfect example, actually, I just watched a video that was talking about how people admire like Chinese infrastructure, like high-speed rail and things like that. And they're like, but you have to realize, if you step back and stop admiring their rail system, if you look at how like they're encapsulated in like different regions, like you have a city where all of like they collect their hyper local with like their taxes and how things are broken up and stuff like that, right? Like if you were born poor, you're probably going to be poor for the rest of your life. You're not just going to move into this other neighborhood, where here in America, you might get a windfall, you might get a good job, you might do this, you might do that. And you can kind of move around between different, you might do really well, lose your job, and then end up homeless. Right. Over there, if you start off living in this neighborhood over here with only these services and these schools, you can't just go to a better school. You are only going to go to the bad schools. Right. The more affluent kids are always going to go to the good schools. Right. They're always going to have the good jobs and the good opportunities.
I was about to say, and they'll be given more of the nepotism that you see on opportunities anyway. So it's like somebody who is somebody's son or someone's daughter that I don't know, that the one child program is starting to, like, I don't know if it's waned off now, but in practice, I mean. But now it's like if you outsmart the elite's children, then you get shunned. It's almost literally like, what are you trying to do? You're making us look bad. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? This guy, like, what if it was, now I always put that question. I'm glad you brought that up about the high speed rail. What if it was somebody that was of that lower case that thought it up, was used, and then was shunned? You know what I mean? Yep. After, because I'm not going to say China isn't the exact model of intellectual property anyways. They steal a bunch of shit. So that's why I noticed, there's 15. I mean, how do you know you can build 15 different variations of a Black Hawk? Just look at Chinese helicopters or different models of our stealth fighters. Just look at their J series aircraft. And you're just thinking, damn, dude, that's obviously a copy. It looks like you know how Grand Theft Auto, they don't have the licenses for aircraft or vehicles, so they make their own, right? So that's what it looks like to me, because the only true license, and I'll just going off the game stuff right quick, the only true license is Ace Combat. They have the actual licenses, and because the game makers are smart, and they have the actual licenses to fly the actual aircraft in the game. China looked like all right, let's do this GTA version. The GTA version is, it looks like an F-15, but it takes off like an F-35, but it's stealthy like a freaking F-22. It looks like you know what I mean? So, I was just playing GTA last night, and I just thought about that right now, because I fly around on a cargo bob or a buzzard, and the buzzard is the little bird, the cargo bob is a Chinook smashed with the MH-53 CK or Super Stallion. So yeah, it's like I said, and that idea is stolen. Every single member of the CCP is serving the CCP. So so they're coming over here to go, hey, I just want to get some ideas. Now you're here to fucking spy. Shut up. Just you're not getting any ideas.
So I had always heard like the term anchor baby, and I understood it, and like, so I grew up, one of my neighbors in my cul-de-sac, their family and like extended family, they had immigrated from China. Well, he wouldn't want you to say China. They came from oh my gosh, what was the one that the British just gave back in the 90s? Yeah. He's from Hong Kong, not from China. Like, make sure you get it right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They want to keep that separation big time.
Yeah. But like all of their family, every single one of like his cousins, like their families and stuff like that, they all only had one child. They were all only males. And I'm just like, how could you not foresee, right, as the Chinese government, how could you not foresee a family wanting to continue to pass down their name and their lineage and always having boys? If you only ever have boys, your population is not going to grow.
Right. Exactly. That's why I think, and here's another thing too, is that in our recent conflicts, our recent conflict with Iran and the little thing that we did in, I don't know, what's that little Latin country in Venezuela, that little op there. And then of course, the war in Ukraine. I think we've overestimated a lot of our adversaries on some of this stuff. I mean, it's the first tick of, oh man, maybe our intel, or maybe we're briefing. Well, we've always briefed bad slides, but maybe we're not. Maybe we were underestimating a lot of these and underestimating and overestimating. Like the Taliban wasn't supposed to be taking Kabul within a specific time. They took it quick. The same thing with the first war, or the first invasion of Crimea, when Russia invaded Ukraine the first time, and they just like, oh yeah, well, because Russia they're only going to take that, then okay, they got to stop all these negotiations that happen. Well, then the next invasion of Ukraine, everyone said, oh, they're going to take Kyiv in 2 days or some shit like that. They fucking, dude, they're still fighting them. They're still trying to get that Kyiv. They can't get it,
I think the biggest takeaway that I've had over the last couple of years, and especially in the last 4 months, is that both our military and our country and our culture, our bar is set so much higher than everybody else's in terms of what we consider a success or a victory, right? Like we consider any loss of life bad. Both sides do. Like we don't want to send our guys in at all. Like we don't want to lose anybody. And if we do, you better go get them, which we successfully did do. And I want to bring that up again here in a second, because I don't know if you saw this post or not, but it's hilarious. But like we value life so much more than I think any of our enemies do, even our allies do. Because even our allies are like, why would you risk all these pieces of equipment and things? And they're like, dude, you don't understand how much power that projects over somebody. Right. You can blow up everything that we send there and we will still get that dude out alive, and you cannot stop us.
Yeah. Someone's going to die.
Yeah.
What's that meme? You're going to send all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. What's that Game of Thrones meme? Someone's going to die. I'm going to say that right there also provides you as the service member some thought. Hey, my teammates are going to come for me. If I'm behind enemy lines, they will do everything in their power to come fucking get me and bring, you know, God in hell with them to do it. You know what I mean? And so
the confidence to be like, all I need to do is get to the right place and trigger that beacon. And,
well, just the confidence in your equipment too. Think about it, guys. Ejecting into your shit. You got to get all your stuff together, and then all of a sudden, okay, I gotta hit this beacon. I was trained to do this, and you know, there's specific steps that, you know, I'm not going to blab out, but there are specific steps that you got to go through. You do the mental checklist, and then you do what you got to do, and then that confidence in your equipment. I mean, come on, dude. That right there will resonate in every schoolhouse you can imagine. For decades, just on how confident your equipment, just on how some of the tactics and techniques. You always hear the back of my day guys. This is the biggest back of my day success story you're ever going to hear in that community, in the CSAR community, and just, you know, everyone who participated in it. You realize how big it was. How it was posted, how it was discussed, how it was, you know, relayed. The media. I mean, I think the media at this. I think this is also one of the one of the most voracious hunts for information from all media outlets ever, because think about it. There were videos out there, and you know me, I always go on social media on X and always throw, you know, them notes for you. Them guys that are posting old videos from like Syria or old, you know, OIF videos or something like that. They were the propaganda machine on the social media sphere was just incredible, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man.
I remember when I joined, like, you know, being in basic training even, and our drill sergeants coming in there and showing us like all the various, you know, moto videos from the early GWOT, right? Like just even like the grainy, like early GoPro, early Blackberries and things like that. Just super,
Blackberries. Yeah, exactly.
Little point and shoot cameras and all that kind of stuff.
Point and shoot. They're all like stopgap, pixelated and shit like that. They're all.
Dude, I have the funniest video from command walkthrough for Best Ranger competition, where I was working the medical lane, the medevac lane. And that wasn't actually what I was working during the actual thing, because they brought down 5th to support us, but for the walkthrough it was only 4th. And so I'm down there and I'm throwing arty sims in this little pit right by the shell of the downed helicopter that's down in like that little, was it Fryer Field? The woods behind Fryer Field. And there's like a little pit, and just throwing these arty sims, and they were whistling, but they weren't popping. So I was throwing sandbags on them. And like the 4th one, I had my BlackBerry, I think the Storm at the time. I had it like propped up against a tree, right? So this is
I was
like,
about to think it was a Storm,
grainy, dark video. Like it's not good at all. And you just kind of like see my silhouette. You hear 2, 3, or 4 of them go off, and I throw another one in there, and it whistles. And then I get ready to go throw another sandbag, thinking that one's not going to go off. And that one goes off, and it sets off the other 3 or 4. And it just throws these fucking sandbags through the air. You see just this like weird blob kind of flying, and you hear sand raining down. And it was right as Fort Benning, the commander, command sergeant major, and like the whole group from regiment and RTB, they're all like walking down the little trail, and it just rained sand on everyone, man. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so fucked. Like they're going to be so mad. Nobody cared. But I was like, I was in E4 at the time, and I'm thinking like they're going to fucking tear me a new asshole, you know? But so when I joined, or prior to when I joined, when I was in high school, during like the early invasion years and stuff, I was in the school that I went to had, like early college type class. Like my son goes to an early college now, where he's actually going to college next year as a junior in high school. He will be a freshman taking freshman courses in college as a junior in high school. And not like half.
I've heard of those programs.
Yeah. And it's not half day. Like he is a college, he's finishing his high school classes this month, and he's done with high school, period. But I would go half days to a co-op for IU and Purdue, and for architecture and drafting, CAD, whatever you want to call it. And they had these big projector screens, right? And so we'd be in there working on like house designs and things. And our professor would just be playing like bombing run videos and stuff on the projectors. I just remember it just was like the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, cause I was in 8th grade during 9/11. Yeah, I believe so. I was taking like my state standardized testing and they sent us home. And, but I just remember like in high school is when we invaded Iraq, and all I can think about nowadays is like what the kids now can see, because those videos are so grainy in the early internet days. And
oh my God. Yeah. And also it makes me mad because I'm thinking, fuck, I could have well, I mean, the camera probably would have been this big or something like that. You know what I mean? But I was like, damn, I could have brought some, shit, you know, I could have brought some, you know, some of the stuff, some of the, you know, digital cameras that were about this big and that had like a, you know, a 3 megabyte freaking, you know, SanDisk in there.
Yep.
And you can only take like 4 or 5 pictures before you could upload it to your fucking big ass tough book. And then, you know, some of the pictures that we took when we were out there, you know, most of them were like the little wind up thingies on your freaking, you know, I've taken those little wind up disposable cameras to places to process, and they won't even do it. They're like, we saw the images. We're not gonna.
Damn.
So I'm like, did you just come back from Iraq? I go, yeah. I was like, you know, one of them. No, I think it was 2 of them. They didn't want to. Because I was taking pictures of everything. Oh, wait, look at this. Oh, shit. Is that a, oh, shit, that is. You know, took a picture of that. Or with the digital stuff, some of the stuff like that, I would work with other organizations, and they're like, you took pictures? I did. Let me see your camera. And then I come back, and they're like, here's a stack. And then you got these. What's this? These are the pictures. Yeah, these are your pictures. Thank you. But I took other pictures. Yeah, I know. I know you took other pictures. That's why we gave you these pictures back. And here's your camera, and here's your formatted freaking your drive. You know what I mean? Your formatted little disc.
That's funny. Yeah, I just, like I said, and back then, you know, like there was a delay, because it was basically war correspondents that were getting the majority of the footage. Correct. And sending it back. Like nobody, they didn't have internet access, and if they did, it was super spotty. It was just they could get like an email off or whatever. They weren't uploading videos to YouTube and things like that in 2003. Well, YouTube didn't exist. They would have been on LiveLeak or
LiveLeak or what is it, Ogrish or something like that. Yep, you know. Yep. Yeah, you said you had to send them through an email, you know, back in the day when it was Ogrish and LiveLeak. Yeah, so yeah.
But I even remember, you know, pre 3D printing days, and I actually have a video of this bookmarked of a guy making a rhino mounted thing for his Chick-fil-A sauce.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah. Yep.
But you know, back in the day, guys would just like take a piece of duct tape and duct tape it to their ACH or whatever. And
yep. Or camcorders too. They would do the little Sony handy cams. Oh yeah, they would do the same thing. Yeah, and you're right. It's now this, you know, that old term. You know, we always like to, you know, talk shit about the old hats, but now that term, soldier's a censor. Now, no shit, soldiers really are the censor, and they're able to triangulate it. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's great to see. Sometimes it's like, dude, turn that fucking shit off before some autistic O-center comes on the freaking net and is able to triangulate exactly where you're at. That's what Ukraine was doing against the Russians, because Russian soldiers were literally fucking posting all their shit, and they were triangulating their positions, and Ukraine was just fucking them up. Yeah. Drones and artillery. You know,
I know exactly where that tree and that blue painted rock is.
Yeah, and exactly that. And they'll figure it out. And then next thing you know, the Ukrainian freaking influence PSYOP units would be like, hey, check this out. Hey, Ivan. And then blah, would post it out. I'm like, damn, dude, you know, genius stuff. Some of it, like I said, I was telling a friend a couple days ago that Ukraine is like the most awesome battle lab you could have right now on just anything and everything. So that's good stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, sometimes how do I say this? Yes, it's good that we get the information, but when it comes to operational stuff, while the operation is still going, that's where I kind of like draw the line. You know what I mean? Yeah. You could post videos and take pictures and then, or you could take pictures and then post videos and stuff after the op of what happened for historical purposes and all that, but not when the op is going on. You know?
So in the early bombing campaigns, like early March, I kept tweeting at Musk saying that I wish that he would give the military some of their cameras and uplinks and actually strap them to the warhead so they could live stream hitting a target.
You know, I was about to say, you know what's funny is now we're seeing opposite. Back in the day, we used to see that, like the Desert Storm videos or the Iraqi Freedom video. You would see the warhead. You would all of a sudden you would see an open landscape. You would see a freaking sky roll. The terrain rolling below, and all of a sudden it tilts down and it's going blah 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 blah. Or you see like a gun cam from an Apache or something like that. Now you have so many freaking sensors in the sky. You have drones. You have you have ISR assets that are up there that are filming everything, and you're actually seeing the hit from the outside view, not from the missile point of view. But yes, that would be. Dude, that would be epic as hell. Just to show, like, I wanted to see the bunker busting shit. I wanted to see all these leaders get taken out. I wanted to see, I want to see these freaking, all these Iranian fucking guys getting waxed.
Could you imagine the Iranians, the very few of them that have, internet access, they're sitting there watching and they're like, oh, where's that going to go? Oh shit!
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what happened during Desert Storm. We were watching these fucking missiles fly right into people's window, or the enemy's windows. So yeah, it just that would be like, oh my god, you're sitting there tweeting, haha, you missed, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, like you said, holy crap, and then you're trying to.
I don't remember what which base or post there were. I think there were soldiers from the Army. They might have been Air Force, might have been a mix. I don't know, but they were in like a bunker kind of deal. Like they were inside of it, so I couldn't really tell what it was. But there was like a partition wall, and there was kind of like a break, and they were inside of it, and something came in right outside of it and hit right outside of them and detonated. And they're all in there. I mean, it blew out the microphone on the whatever they were recording with, and they're like, "You okay? You okay?" And they're all good. And I was like, "Holy shit!" To be on the receiving end of that and just be like, "Yep, we're good."
Yeah, and here's where the mix of use of AI comes in now. Now everybody doesn't agree with, they'll say it's AI, it's AI, it's fake, it's AI. We get that a lot on WTF Moments. We'll have a post go up. Like literally, we'll look at it and go, okay, for like specific media, obviously we're never going to post the fake shit. So we'll go screenshot your phone on the information, and then they'll we literally we don't want to be like that nitnoid, but we look, yep, okay, that's legit, and then we'll like, what location was this, what unit was this, blah blah blah. We posted something today on Photos of the Weeks that people were like saying that's AI. That's AI. And I'm like, what do you mean? And it's a picture of the Lakota. There's a new model at Lakota with the fantail on the back of it.
Yeah, we just watched a video about it.
And on the I think it was some National Guard unit just picked it up, and the newer model, and it was the newer model. Well, people were
Sam Malcolm. Yeah, there's a guy named Sam Malcolm that does a lot of military video. I don't know if you've seen his stuff.
Yeah. And it was the Lakota has a variant with the normal tail rotor, and the new variant that this National Guard unit has the fantail, and they just received them. Well, it was part of Photos of the Week. People were saying that's AI. What do you we got in the inbox? Why are you guys posting AI pics? That's disingenuous. What are you talking about? AI pics? There's no such thing as a fantail Lakota. Okay. Let me send you the link of, the team was like, let me send you the picture. Let me send you the link of this National Guard unit that just received this Lakota fantail. I think it was Colorado National Guard that just got them. And here you go. And by the way, we don't reveal sources of who sends in the content, but this is one of their high-speed pics that, they sent us when they were training with it. So I hate it. It's almost like you're like for a fact that the shit is legit, and you have some actually coming in there and fucking say it's AI, and you're like, dude, I'm literally talking to, you're like one or two Kevin Bacons away from the fucking source in the inbox. You're telling us that it's not AI, dude. Trust me. So that's the thing too. It's like there's been a lot of AI slop that's been posted about the conflict in Iran. The Maduro raid, I think, was probably one of the best examples of delayed posting, delayed attribution, delayed whatever you want to call it, and that that is part of an influence campaign as well to say, hey, look, this is what we did. This is what we're capable of. And here are the assets to do it. Now, of course, the Venezuelans on the ground, they were literally freaking, they were literally posting everything that had an example of. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that if there's a Chinook with a fucking big thingy sticking out the front of it, then that's the 160th, because that's the only people that fly that type of aircraft, right? Or if you see a Black Hawk firing rockets at it, that's the only variant that we have in the U.S. Army that fires rockets or guns or stuff. Oh, the devil's egg flying around, the little bird flying around. Everybody knows that it's pretty fucking obvious that it's us. You know what I mean? So when everyone's like, "That's AI," no, that was from literally people were just like, "Oh, that's from Iraq. That was from the." I'm like, Jesus. So those are the ones that's the living example of the lowest common denominator that you want to influence, because they're so they'll believe your shit. They'll believe fake shit.
What's crazy is, and actually, so I want to say that this is all going to be like obviously an extended episode, and we haven't even really like touched the surface of the intro to PSYOP stuff yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna say, starting now.
Gotcha.
Welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Trunk Tales. Obviously, I'm here with the TheIOGuy. This has been a great episode so far. I'm going to release 2 versions of this video. This is going to be the extended cut that you're getting this from. And we're talking about PSYOPs and everything like that. Right now we're talking about the Maduro capture and things like that went along with that. We've been talking about Iran. We've been talking about everything that's been going on with Russia and just everything. I mean, this has been a jam-packed episode, and I love it. But I want to jump back real quick and talk really quickly. And I mean, I think AI is going to have to be like its own, like several episodes, because it's crazy that so many people will believe the stuff that's very obviously slop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they won't believe reality. Like it doesn't, how do you look at what is very clearly from a janky ass video game engine that's not even like a current, like, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's that lowest. It's that lowest common denominator. It's that lowest denominator of audience aggregate that you Matt Damon, look at bad. Look, Americans bad. They bomb everything, and you look at it, and it's a fucking Arma video, and you're like, well, I can't believe you even shared this. It's even worse when you see noted reporters, noted journalists share it too. And they won't fucking retract. It takes a lot for a journalist to fucking, they stand by their journalists, lawyers, and doctors are the ones that fucking get really butthurt when you fuck with their reputation.
Yeah,
and
they'll Seth Harp.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and so that's another thing too. It's one of those things to where that whole the AI slop actually audience. There are just some people that I think we should have. I mean, this may sound a little bit, Starship Troopers, totalitarian, but I just think they don't need to have internet access. It's almost like drone users have to go through a specific class to fly drones, officially and all this other stuff. It's almost, whatever. But you don't. I don't think that. I mean, a driver's license should teach you what you have the capability to understand and read, write, and you know what signs look like, and you know how to drive when you do your driver's test. I think there needs to be like an internet one, because there are some Mongos out there that will literally, and of course to our advantage sometimes if you're using that for messaging purposes, we'll take your message, we'll take something, and some of these guys it's really bad right now on Facebook. I know we're not going to hit AI too hard, but because we like banged it up a lot. Facebook right now, you hear the Great Warriors Facebook page, or military history stories Facebook page, and it's all AI slop. Yep. They grabbed a picture of somebody, enhanced it with AI, and the next thing you know, they get mad at you for saying, "Hey, we're just trying to enhance the video." Well, at least tell the fucking story right. There was one, and I said this on another podcast. There was an instance where a guy, those same type of pages, saying he gave his life, he gave this, he wanted a Distinguished Service Cross, and he wanted a Medal of Honor. The guy got on the page and said, "Still alive here. I didn't get it. I got a Distinguished Service Cross, but I don't know anything about this fucking Medal of Honor thing." And they ban, like I said, these guys stood on their fucking ground. They go, what are you talking about? You're a fake, blah, 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 blah. It's like, nah, I'm not fake. And he started dropping receipts. They fucking deleted all the comments and banned him from the page. They blocked him from the page.
My favorite early AI slop variant that just always caught people up, and it was very easy to call out, were the ones where if you just for a moment just look at the picture and consider who's taking the picture. Mm-hmm. Like you got like, you know, it's there was that story about the black kid that saved that. It was a real story, but they generated an AI picture of a fake scene that didn't happen. He
Correct.
did save like 2 girls or 3 girls, something like that, like their car.
Yep. I remember that.
But it
one
was
too.
like,
yep.
It was like the sheriff's deputy or something like that, like hugging him, and like the 2 or 3 girls that were like drowning. You're like, guys.
And they had an extra arm or something.
Yeah. I'm like,
exactly.
All you had to do was Google it. Mm-hmm. And the other telltale thing, the biggest telltale of AI on Facebook specifically is super long, drawn out posts that go along with the image, right? Like, you know, the city of blah, blah, blah is honoring so-and-so. And then you click view more, and it's a fucking novel.
Yep. And it's an event that didn't even happen. Yeah. I mean, some of these events didn't even happen at all. So yeah, it's, we in the PSYOP regiment, we knew that it was going to happen. We knew that the use of AI was going to happen against us and everybody else. And we have, I mean, there is discussions going back and forth of using AI in some things within our stuff, but there's like an ethics, like with me. I've even posted it myself. It's like there's so many. I have like an AI ethics, our own line. Some of the things that I won't do. It's like I was telling somebody else. When a retired tanker, a retired infantryman talks about stuff and talks about their things, people listen, right? People are like, oh shit, yeah, that's very insightful. Yeah, oh, that was your experience? Okay, cool. When a retired PSYOP guy talks about it, it immediately becomes, oh, here's a tinfoil. Here goes Ken. He's like, he's ready to go. We're gonna talk. He's a retired PSYOP guy. So how do we know what you're saying is not a PSYOP? And then you're like, oh my god, dude. You guys remember that I was an NCO before I was in aviation. For 10 years before I became a PSYOP guy. My first jump out of an airplane was I was 30 years old, so I was old. I'm an old dude in the soft community. So I was in the Army for about 10 years, 3 years National Guard in the beginning, the forefront, and then from 2001 all the way until, I guess you could sort of say now. Well, in uniform, 2018. So there you go, 2001 to 2018, and then I still do a little bit of. I still do guest speakerships, or I go and observe lanes or something like that at Fort Bragg. So there's a line that we really do have a line. Like, okay, you know how they talk about, oh, there's an AI that strategists and military analysts used, and it talked about doing this, and it suggested that, and we're like, that's why we won't use AI for specific tasks. Well, we did the same thing in PSYOP, and I guarantee it's not pretty. It's almost like Ultron type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I would ask, would you consider the general population overall always being confused?
Yes.
As an advantage or a disadvantage?
I'll just say always.
PSYOPs?
I was just saying always being confused, because you have to remember there's authorities that we have. Some of them we can't, obviously they can't be said here in an open forum, but there are PSYOP operates under different authorities. And we also have different titles that we can or cannot use, to American people. Everyone likes to say, oh my God, you guys are PSYOPing the American people. Well, look, now that the world is connected via the internet, we can't help a message that we posted overseas. It's going to hit here. And so immediately someone's going to share it or whatever like that. So the confusion on our foreign target audience is hell yeah. Let them be confused. Let them, because then at this point, the type of product, the quality of the product, the amount of time that the product is being disseminated, the amount of, and here's where I'm going to break some code talk. You know, when people in the CIA don't like it when other terms are being used, because that's how you know they're not. In PSYOP, we don't say it's a PSYOP. We call it a series. The way PSYOP worked, we used to call it a program. And just think about this. Just for instance, we were just talking about AI. Don't use AI would be the series, and different types of uses of media would be part of that series. So it would be like, for instance, radio, podcasts, whatever, or it'd be videos, or it'd be instructional stuff. It would be doctrine writing. It would be storytelling. There's different stuff under that one. Don't use AI or don't believe AI series. So when you hear someone say, "Oh, it's a PSYOP," that's how we know. PSYOPers would never say that. We also don't say PSYOPs. PSYOP is psychological operations, but we don't add the S. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of thinking, where the fuck did I hear this from? In my teachings, in my learnings, is that there was somebody explained the doctrine, and I'm an asshole for not fucking remembering this one. Why it's not called PSYOPs? The NATO term for psychological operations is PSYOPs. At the NATO, they call it PSYOPs. For us, we just say PSYOP. There was a time where we called it MISO, which was a fucking big mistake. And that was the reason why we had a different, and this will be discussed in a future, this will be the future episode stuff, is because we did not want to upset our internal, and that's the thing too that pissed me off. We did not want to upset our other partners in the interagency of the term PSYOP. So that's why we changed it to Military Information Support Operations. Well, once we did that, everybody who is not a fucking PSYOPer slatched onto that and said, I've been told many times, no, Ken, it's MISO. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I've only been doing this for almost 40 years. Anyways, it's one of those things to where it's not. There was some reason why. And of course, further in the series, when we discuss with our historians and discuss all the other MACV shit, you'll see the explanation of how everything was named for a reason and how heraldry works and all that. Because a lot of people don't realize is that PSYOP in itself, goes back hundreds of years. But as a matter of fact, in American history, PSYOP goes into the American Revolution, right? Everyone talks about anon accounts. Everyone talks about anonymous accounts and all that. Well, the founders and the revolutionaries, the ones when we rebelled against the British, we used anonymous accounts, or I would say pseudonyms for what it was. We were basically shitposting against the British already. So when people say like, oh well, the history of it, the history of PSYOP with this, and there's no need for it. Bro, what are you talking about? Like we were saying before, it goes back into, the ancient times. But American use of it, we just celebrated, in 2018, we celebrated 100 years of Army PSYOP, when Army PSYOP was actually being, when that was actually done. So it began, in the American Revolution. We were throwing leaflets at the fucking Hessians to say, hey, British, these guys are, we're kicking their ass. You know what? What are you going to do? Matter of fact, you should join us. We'll help you out. Now, that's another thing about PSYOP messaging. If you say you're going to do something, it lends credibility when you actually do it. So if we say, hey, bad guy, we're going to drop a leaflet. We're dropping leaflets. Everyone likes to say, we'll use a leaflet. We'll use a leaflet. It's not always just leaflets, but I will use the simpler form. Hey, we're going to use this, or a radio message. Or better yet, we're going to have a leaflet with the radio frequency for you to tune in on the radio message. Hey, you're going to get bombed tomorrow if you don't vacate your position, right? That worked. It worked pretty good for Desert Storm. And then sure as shit, as soon as you don't, if you start bombing, fuck yeah, the enemy's going to say, oh yeah, these guys, the U.S. government, the U.S. military they're going to go by their word. If you don't do it, you're going to destroy your credibility. So that's why when you saw those videos of all those Iraqis surrendering in Desert Storm, because we said that. We're like, hey, we just bombed the shit out of this one spot. You guys are next tomorrow. Next thing you know, oh shit, Shokran, don't bomb us, don't, and they showed up with leaflets thinking that it was some sort of, in a way, it was an effective use to know that, yes, our leaflets reached the enemy, and B, it showed the fact that they read the message. They saw that we were credible enough that we were going to bomb the crap out of them if they didn't comply to what we're doing, because that's literally what it is. It's it's basically use of, I mean, influence. I mean, we have our motto, persuade, change, and influence on our regimental crest. And it really is that. It really is, you're persuading your, all that. I don't, there's more to the title of it, but it's basically the same thing. Now, our doctrinal speak and all that will change on its description of what it is. Like, some of the doctrine that you have in the Joint Manual or the FM will say that, it's military operations that are conveyed, selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their motives and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and large foreign powers.
You'll like the video that I just watched yesterday or the day before. It's not about PSYOPs in any way or anything like that, but it's almost tangential. It's a storytelling component, like how to create a good villain, which if you back up and take out the villain aspect of it, it could apply to even like the hero.
Right.
But one of the things that they were talking about, and one of them was a Star Wars reference,
yes,
was how you can't just always be unpredictable, because if you're unpredictable all the time, then you almost become predictable. Because now it doesn't matter what you say. Nobody's going to believe your threat, because now it's really a 50-50, right?
Exactly that.
One of the examples that they gave was Vader choking out. I've never watched the Star Wars movies, so forgive me.
What did you just say?
All
right, we're canceled. All right, y'all take it easy. Thank you for tuning in to this shortened edition of the.
But it was he force choked out somebody in like the control room or whatever. But then there was another scene where he was supposed to do it again, and George Lucas cut the scene because he was like, we don't just want people to like get numb to him just going around just doing.
Return of the Jedi. It was a scene where one of the admirals was preventing him from going into another room to see the Emperor, and Emperor says, "You don't need to be." He doesn't want to be seen, and Vader's like, "What did you say?" And just like that. I'll be honest with you, and here's the way with filmmaking works, which PSYOP has been involved, is that I can't wait to get to the Hollywood portion of the series, man. I'm so geeked out. Is that a lot of the storytelling it's basically on that. It's a basis of a story that it's the script. And I had a great mentor that was a script writer that knew how to write, do story scripts and stuff like that. And again, future episode of Tunk Tales, make sure you tune into the Hollywood section, because that's going to be the awesome part of it. Is that there is a script that you have to write. Like, there's a reason why we have an assessment and selection. There's a reason why we have to have the gift of gab. There's a reason why we have individuals that have to have a note to write a good story. Now, in its rush, when people say, "Oh, that PSYOP campaign didn't work," well, yeah, it didn't work because you did not allow the individuals on the ground to do their proper stuff, and also you forget that we all work for bosses too, and so if you're not allowed to do it, and whatever, that you're gonna get what you don't approve. You know what I mean? Yep. But basically that. So, and I hate when people are like, "Well, I had several PSYOP guys that were doing this, and they were fucking shit." And they're like, "Well, okay, what did you do? What'd you have them do?" "Well, they didn't do this, and they did." No. What did you let them do? Well, they wouldn't let me said this, and they said I had to go back to Fort Bragg. Well, what were they? I mean, they never get to the end of why they hate having PSYOP or why they hate PSYOP sucks until they meet a PSYOPer that the next thing you know is fucking like, I don't consider myself the greatest PSYOPer on the planet. I have been.
Come on. Don't be humble.
No, dude. I don't. Because there are some PSYOP kids out there that are fucking phenomenal in filmmaking, storytelling, and all that. I'm just like in awe. I'm like, oh my god, dude. If I could have done this, and the reason why I say that is because some of them are former soldiers. Somebody said that I was. Somebody said that I was because I didn't meet the traditional block of with a regular Army NCO would go. Most NCOs, they were the squad leader, platoon leader, platoon sergeant, and they become a first sergeant and all that. Well, I made rank pretty quick. And so, because, I was in aviation for a minute, and then I accelerated my time, like I said, in active duty. And then once I became a PSYOPer, I went like Staff Sergeant, First Class, Master Sergeant. And then from there, I was a Master Sergeant for a long time. Somebody said that I was a Master Sergeant so long that I was everybody's detachment sergeant, which I pretty much was. And so it was basically the kids that I shouldn't say kids. They're just badass professionals, man. The troops that I was their detachment sergeant for, or I was their first sergeant for. I stand back in awe because I can brag and say, hey, that was my soldier. Hey, that was my troop. Whatever. But I can also brag that they took the shit that I knew to the next level. Ghost in the Machine, Ghost in the Machine 2, all the other Ghosts in the Things, that we're going to talk about in a future podcast. It's just one of those things to where you're in awe what the regiment can do. So much to the fact that it's threatened within, that's the last 2 episodes. I can't wait. You guys are getting me pumped. There are internal forces within the Department of War, DOD, what do you want to call it? Whatever your butt hurt not to say or say. The Department of War, that are threatened by the likes of our skills, and to the point to where like I was told that PSYOP scares me because the reason why it scares me is because it'll put me out of a job. I won't say the name, I won't say the rank, I won't say what they do, but when they told me that, and I'm like, damn, dude, I mean we're doing this, and then they just like it was like Colonel Kilgore in Apocalypse Now. One day this war is going to end.
Yep.
Then what we're going to do? Then the game is going to be influence. And so it really is one of those things to where I look back and I see how PSYOPers of today, to go back to what you were saying about the storytelling. And the storytelling portion of it is the core of the story of your message that you want to put out in the series, right? So if you want your series of stuff, and we're going to talk about the way that we work with what we have for each specific mission, for each specific task that we have to do in theater with what we call PSYOP objectives and supporting PSYOP objectives.
Would you say that if you were building a series, would you say that series would be defined by the end goal, and then you work back, like you define your steps in your series to get there based on the end goal?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay. In the goal of an influence, everybody wants to be the influencer. You're talking about measures of performance and measures of effectiveness. You're talking about the end effect. That's literally, most PSYOPers that have been around on staff will say, okay, what's your effect? What do you want? What can I help you with? What do you need? And that's usually, working in those joint environments, that's exactly what it is. It's what your end effect is going to be in your PSYOP series. So your PSYOP series is, I mean, you can name whatever, support the U.S. objectives in Venezuela. I'm guaranteeing right now there's some messaging that's currently happening in Venezuela to support our U.S. policies and the end of the Maduro regime and the remnants.
I want to tell you something really fun. So back last fall, I kept joking around and saying that I can't remember what I said. Bomb Venezuela, liberate the Latinas, something. It was I made it work, and now I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I'd said it like multiple times, and Grimsby was like, "No, you don't want that. They're all crazy." And I'm like, "It's a joke, man." Like he's like, "You don't want to liberate them. You want to leave them there." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But then that guy in the Navy that they took the picture of and it was posted on DVids, the patch.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man! As soon as I saw that, I was like, I know he didn't steal that idea from me, but I swear he stole that idea from me. I swear I was the one saying that first.
Well, I mean, it's like this. We look. There's just some people that, like I was telling you about I don't want to insult the target audience either. But you want to go and to speak to everybody. Yep. And in an environment like that, you have to consider, and of course we do our area studies. I know all the retired SF guys, all the retired Intel guys, they always talk about make sure you have an area study for when the shit hits the fan or blah, blah, blah. Well, no shit. Everyone talks about, did you know that there was plans for Iran? Did you know there was plans for Venezuela?
It's just like when every time, DOD, DOW, whatever, war games for an invasion of Canada or fucking Mexico, people are like, they're planning on invading. No, they're just, you plan for every possible scenario.
You plan for everything. There's the plans and op plans is what they're called. And what basically what it is that there are studies that are being, like, I got binders and stuff around me that I could say, oh, this, I mean, I'm just using an example. I don't have classified material. I'm just saying, well, I do got some drone. I got a drone sitting next to me with some drone blade, my drone kit next to me. I do have a video. I do have a picture of Saddam Hussein, because I collect propaganda as well. Every PSYOPer should. Or anybody who is interested in PSYOP or propaganda, should always get a piece of that stuff. So that way, and make sure you say that you're doing it as a collector, because then people are looking weird at you and shit when you start collecting. You have paraphernalia and stuff. But no, a lot. You have to not. You can't insult the target audience, but you also have to understand culture as well. So those area studies as well. You something like someone will say that would not, I don't know, it wouldn't resonate with somebody from the Midwest, but somebody, a Latino you're like, oh shit, me, if I was, now I mind you now, I know nothing about what messaging is being posted down in Venezuela. I'm only from my experience. I would altarcast the fuck out of the dudes. Only real men would stand up to fucking shitty regimes. Real men would take care of their fucking families. Real men make sure that they defend their country. Real men would do this. You should thank the U.S. You should thank the U.S. for providing you an outlet to do this.
Yep.
And everyone says it sounds really corny, but I mean, it's almost like, you ever watch Judge Dredd when there's that little PSYOP robot that goes, eat recycled food. It's good for the environment and okay for you. It sounds cheesy, but those are like messages that we would post out. And we would literally say something like that.
It's very similar to like people that have quickly become radicalized on social media and like the internet generation, because before, when people had these thoughts or notions, they were disconnected from other people that might have had that. So they not only felt like they were really wrong, like they are wrong, but there's nobody else could possibly think like them.
That would go back to the title of it, networks and groups. It's almost like, I mean, a lot of us in the soft community would say, if you thought about it, the bad guy has thought about it 10 different ways of doing it already. Right. That's what you have to be, 10 steps ahead of the game, to include in all your planning and processes and stuff like that. Because everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's an idea. All right, cool. Let's just throw it up and fucking send it out and see what happens and get the clicks and there are second, third, and fourth order effects, which, I like to talk about. A lot of terms in the mainstream hitting it now are PSYOP terms, themes and messages and symbols to avoid. I'm thinking, damn, dude, I felt like I was back in, in my class. But those objectives that you have, like you were talking about, the supporting of, we know you're thinking about this. Let's do it. Here's what we can do. Blah, blah. That's where the steps of the PSYOP process, the unconventional warfare process, run in parallel. That's what the SF guys do. That's what the SF dudes are for. That's what their gig is all about. Their job is specifically all about, unconventional warfare. They have their own process. As a matter of fact, both processes are the same steps. The 7 steps. They're not. We have 7 steps of the PSYOP process. We have 7 steps of the UW process. Each work in concert with each other to supplement and help them out. Us is planning. We do 7, 7, and some of my mentors in some of the organizations that I've worked with, we do 7, 7, and 7. There's 7 steps to the MDMP process, the military decision-making process, 7 steps to the PSYOP process, and then 7 steps to the freaking unconventional warfare process. And when you're working with special operations units, like specifically, like I said, I'm just to say, UW Special Forces, that's their bread and butter, man. They're the ones that teach the little indige guys how to, operate weapons and how to move squad tactics. You see videos like that when you see like SOC Africa, or you'll see, there's the Indo-PACOM. You'll see you'll see First Special Forces Group training interoperability exercises with them. So all that stuff with them, that's their bread and butter. All of us work in concert. So that way, that messaging, because like, there's a post that I put on Twitter, And I was like, you may have you may have had the Ranger Handbook, but you've never heard it in the original Arabic. Well, when we were training Syrian forces, guess what we have in there? We have a Ranger Handbook. I have several Ranger Handbooks in Arabic. I have it in in Ethiopian and Amharic. We have, because those are some of the areas that I worked, and we have messages that are inside them. Real soldiers will do this. A little external messaging that you would put it in the same thing with the UW guys when they're, because obviously in the general terms, they're dealing with proxy forces or they're involved in insurgencies and counterinsurgency and stuff like that.
It kind of makes me curious. So you know how right now GWOT is doing it's doing like not a verbatim translation. It's doing a keep the message the same translation. Like if we were having this conversation with somebody in Japanese and GWOT was our middleman, GWOT wouldn't say the exact words in the exact order. It would
with contents or nuance either. That's the issue.
Yeah. So I would be curious to see how some of these chatbots would translate those handbooks back to English. Like I would. Well, I think that'd be kind of cool.
We actually have we actually have individuals. Well, we're supposed to individuals that are specialists and within the region to look at these products before we throw. In other words, we don't just go out and say, all right, I need 1 million handbooks. I need 1 million Ranger handbooks in Arabic. Well, we got to at least do a couple of prototypes and then flip through and say, all right, let's give it to a guy who's in Syria. Let's give it to a guy who's in Jordan. Let's give it to a guy who's in Iraq. Can you understand what this is? Blah, blah, blah. Then we get the feedback and stuff like that. All that, of course, is within the planning processes of the of the PSYOP. The first step of the PSYOP process, as a matter of fact. I mean, we're going to go through them anyways. There's always the acronym that the old mentors have told me, and is what we say is PT SPADE. PT SPADE is planning, target audience analysis, serious development, product development, and design, approval, production, and then the evaluation. So 7 steps right there. Those are the steps that as a PSYOPer, we have to process in itself, along with the MDMD process, which is another 7-step process that we do involved with planning at the joint level or at the division core level as well. So it's a pretty, everyone thinks like, oh, just make a fucking leaflet and bam, there you go. And it's not like that. I mean, there's legit, you have to define the objectives. And that's one thing too. The first 2 steps, planning and target audience analysis, those are always refined. Those are always going to be built. There's always going to be intentional agitators. There's always going to be things you don't see. You got to identify, some of this, who are the audiences that are there? So after you define the objectives and you've done the initial target audience analysis start, along with MDMP, of course, then that's why you have to identify specific target audiences that you, like you were saying, the dudes in Venezuela. We'll keep using Venezuela because that was actually a pretty good, it's not as complex, but for purposes of the discussion, it'll be pretty good. Identifying. So what were we doing? Everyone talks about the discombobulator. I think I got a combobulator old one module somewhere. Anyways, which is probably just a loudspeaker system with set up to a high rate that could be adjusted that will make everybody shit their pants or whatever. I'm gonna tell you right now, the battle labs, man, the USASOC kids, the PSYOP kids, a lot of the PSYOP kids are some freaking nerds on what they can do on the OBJ, and if they're supporting tier 1 units, I can imagine what the imagination can go to with that.
There's I don't want to get too far off track, but there's several like techie, and they're not just specifically tech, but they're like hacker, not like sitting there and trying to get in the mainframe or hack your server. Taking components and things and using them for things that they're not intended for. For example, there's a guy named Ben Jordan, which this dude he's very hyper liberal, and he doesn't hide that. But his content, man, he is dead on, like with the flock cameras and just technology and things like that in general, and ways to spy on people. This dude created a laser microphone that he could shine it from any distance using an infrared laser so you can't see it. He could shine it, and based on the reflection of like a surface, like a plastic bag, like a shopping bag, or even your window, he could actually hear or use the vibration from the window or from the plastic bag to translate that wave into audio. He could spy on you in your house by shining a laser at you. There was another guy, I can't remember who. I remember the researcher was from the University of Michigan. I think it might have been Veritasium, might have been the YouTube channel. They took a laser, the researcher created this laser that was able to hit the microphones on like smart speakers and trigger different commands. So they could shine a laser through your window at like your smart thermostat that's connected to your Nest system or whatever, and tell it to open your garage door.
That's why I always tell people to be analog in a lot of things in their home. With the exception, obviously, I don't even think some homes are even built with landlines anymore. And so I always tell people when they're like, "Oh, I got my old switch right here, and I'm thinking about putting a switch on there. Is it a digital switch or is it a smart switch?" And they're like, No, it's going to be one of those ones that connects to us. As soon as you said connects to stop. Just don't even. Just if you want it, you could change out to an analog to a digital, but which everyone knows that digital and analog are pretty much the same.
You can also do what's called signal freaking.
Yeah,
and so somebody could be outside of my house and have a powerful enough antenna that they could actually watch us and listen to us based on the radiation that's coming off the HDMI cable that's connected from this computer to this TV right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's why I always laugh. That's why when I always, remember when you were in and you were always hearing those S2 nerds going, "Don't cross zipper lines with nipper lines."
Yep.
Because the transfer line will come over. And then you always have those skeptics. "No, it won't happen like that. Mongo will cross over." And then that technology exists. See, the thing is that it's not that the technology didn't exist, bro. It's like one of those things to where it existed, but now people are figuring out how it works, and people are figuring out how to do it.
And one of the things that people really don't take seriously is the complacency aspect of it, right? Like,
right.
You're preached to all the time. The comms guy tells you this stuff. Everyone's telling you all these different things. You're taking your fucking PowerPoint modules and internet security and everything else, and you're doing all of your continuing education nonsense. And you're like, "It's never going to happen to me." And then you get locked out of your account. And you're like, "I told you, dummy, use two-factor authentication."
I would say it's now to a point to where some accounts on social media now won't let you go any further unless you have two-factor. I think that's part of their, because I think they don't want to fucking deal with. A lot of it too is like, I don't want to fucking, the I guess you would say their help desk. They don't want to deal with anybody who's freaking always calling me up with my account being fucked up.
The way that the last, and it's actually, this has gone on for a long time. Even if you have two-factor authentication set up, I don't know if you've ever experimented with this before, but back in the day, before a lot of social media platforms really had like a tangible API, if I wanted to say publish my blog post from my WordPress site onto Facebook or X, what you would do is you would actually go into your browser dev tools and you would grab your session tokens, because your session token mimics that you went through, you logged in, even if you had two-factor authentication enabled, and it logs that, and it keeps you persistently logged in. But it's not tied to what device or what application you're using. So I could take those application tokens or that session token, and I could put it into the application on my WordPress site. And when I click submit, it'll post as Andrew on social media. And
what's a lot of it too is that just clearing out your cache helps too. You know what I mean? Some of the basic stuff. I know a lot of the newer methods of influencing, because that technique you were talking about with the laser stuff and all that. Yeah. Those are techniques that normally be used for, human and stuff like that. And other people's that would use that type of tech. PSYOPers, we don't do any of the intel stuff. I mean, we do media assessments to where like we're listening into that. We're playing in the ham radio world only for transmission, of course. So if it's yeah, only in transmission, of course, but yeah, no, the reason why I always say that you're trying to get the message out, we're using the platforms. A lot of people, like for instance, confuse platforms with capabilities with the actual function. And so that's what everybody gets confused about. So when I go back to say it about, oh, well, yeah, it's easy shit. You're going to freaking, you could just slap a leaflet and just send it out. I'm like, okay, well, what, let me see what your opposed and SPOs were, your PSYOP objectives and your supporting PSYOP objectives. What was your, what was that? Let me read back. Let me look back at the tabs here. What was your target audience analysis in this? What was your method? What step? Because people always, the seven step to PSYOP that a lot of people don't do is the evaluation, is where we measure impact indicators, or we make sure that was the effect effective that we had said we were going to do when we posted or sent or transmitted or dropped, or whatever. Right. And it could be any medium, you know what I mean? It's anything that has to do with messaging. We could use any medium. It could be the internet. It could be ham radio. It could be radio. It could be Morse code. It could be a movie that we, like I said, future trash talk. It could be anything, but as long as the message gets out there, is it part of the series? And then also the approval. A lot of the stuff that people complain about in the PSYOP process is that it takes too fucking long, because it's a long approval process, because most of our PSYOP objectives are coming from the Department of War. It's coming from a higher echelon. So we have to stay within those guidelines. When people stray out of it, then that's when you have everybody and its mother, almost like putting a cover sheet on an OPSEC fucking document that wants to, you got, there's only 3 people that I give a fuck about when it comes to any products that I've ever sent up. And that was the JAG, to make sure that we didn't violate anything that was going to be violating, the laws of war. And within specific authorities, and usually, I would myself face to face with the JAG on this one and go on message and nuance, and this is what it means. Give them an English version of what it would look like. Here's what the Arabic version is, and then here's I would literally do that with some of the individuals that would work on the JAG team, because they're the ones that are going to save your fucking bacon in the event your PSYOP. Everyone says, PSYOP doesn't kill people. I'm gonna say, you post the wrong message, or a message gets sent out at the wrong time, or ahead or too late in an operation, it could kill people. It could kill innocents on the ground. It could kill your teammates. It could kill your partner or allies that are there on the ground with you. So it's a lot of it, things like, it's not a big deal. It's just fucking stupid PSYOP shit, fucking leaf eater crap, blah, 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 blah. Even though that we were one of the precursors of the OSS. Yeah, okay, whatever. But, a lot of people will sit there and not think about the whole process in itself, realizing that there's a process to begin with. So when I hear somebody go, yeah, well, they didn't, what step were they at? Well, they didn't really do this because they did their target audience analysis and and that's another thing too. We have a bad habit of being paralysis analysis, or analysis paralysis. We'll go into that. Did we get it all? Did we do this? Let's do that. Meanwhile, the commander, the Joint Force commander, is like, all right, TikTok, motherfucker. We got to get this. We got to get this shit out.
I think the question that I would have, and probably a lot of people would have, are you guys given? Maybe you can't even answer this. I don't know. Are you guys given the broad end goal, or are you given, like, for example, let's say we're gonna go take over country X, right? Like, we want to go invade and we want to turn their people onto our side so that they're basically our fighting force for us. Are they telling you that and saying, make all of the objectives that get us to that end state? Or do they say, like, they keep that final mission goal to themselves, and they tell you, hey, I need you to start the influence campaign.
We are in on the whole thing. Okay. Like when Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom kicked off, we were involved in all the phase 0 all the way to phase 4, in different phases of the conflict, because there was messaging involved in each of those phases. So we kind of had to be aware. If you have a good planner or you have a good staff on there, it's pretty quick to write. Like when I was the senior PSYOP sergeant for the 1st Armor Division. And then I became that's how I got my name, TheIOGuy. The AI, where's my IO guy at? Is because I was, at the time, we were short with an PSYOP officer, an IO officer, and a PSYOP NCO, and I was the only guy there since I was there in 2004. Obviously the Mahdi militia, the Muqtada al-Sadr fucking uprising, to include PSYOP products involved in that one too. So it was, and I'll give you an example on that one, is that at that time I had to be in every portion of whatever process. Like if we were going to raid to go hunt Muqtada al-Sadr, I had to be in that planning area. I had to be in the plan shop. So generally a PSYOP guy, or, PSYOP, the crew, the individuals would be inside the G3 plants in a division. I'm just talking about in a division, or J3 or J39 in a joint environment. But there was a time, and I got a friend of mine. The late Boone Cutler, the Solder City boys, him and Alex Plitzas, those guys, during the Mahdi militia uprising, we were all PSYOPers on the ground. I was the division guy. We had the 321st, the 345th PSYOP company reserve units. One out of Missouri, one out of Dallas, Texas. 345th out of Texas. I think 21st was the Missouri one. But anyways, we all worked together during all that Mahdi militia uprising. So when Muqtada al-Sadr was pulling his shit, this guy's like the same age as me. He's like in his fucking 50s and shit. So at the time we were all like, God, this kid's young. This guy was the one of the lead the sheikhs, or the lead clerics in the Mahdi uprising. And we're like, okay, there was a mission to possibly take him out or make him surrender. So I had to, and I'll send you the meme for the purpose. We had to carry in aircraft and hover around in Chinooks and in vehicles to make sure that we had two boxes. One that said Muqtada al-Sadr has surrendered. Muqtada al-Sadr has been, he's working with coalition forces. He has surrendered. Lay down your weapons, blah, blah, blah. And then we had another one that said, this motherfucker's dead. We killed him. We waxed him. And if you don't fucking do what I'm just paraphrasing, of course. You don't do what we say, we're going to fucking wax your ass too. The Mahdi militia's destroyed. I mean, we had several. So it's like literally what we're thinking. The meme was, when you think you've dropped the wrong leaflet box, you're like, oh shit, I'm in danger. That meme. And that literally was what happened. That was dicey, because if we had put out the wrong leaflet box and Muqtada al-Sadr had not been taken out, then guess what? It'd been basically been ruining the credibility for the entire Task Force 180.
You know what it reminds me of? You know how when sports championships, like the Super Bowl or college basketball or whatever, when they're designing the products for the champion, so they have like the shirts and the hats, but they have to make them for both teams just in case.
I know where you're getting at. Yeah. And the losers get sent to some charity groups in Africa. Yeah. There's no. Hopefully, there's no Muqtada al-Sadr, because the motherfucker's still alive. There's no Muqtada. There's no Muqtut fucking posters in Nigeria right now that kids are using for fire, or kindling. Yeah, it was dicey. I mean, so that's why you had to make sure that you were involved in the plan, initiating contact. Like with me, I have, in my time, when we get to my portion of it, in OIF, when I was supporting 2nd Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group, Bravo and Charlie Company, I like I said, there were specific hit times that you had to hit. So you had to be involved in the planning. So it's not like you were kept in the dark. Some of the PSYOP objectives anyways are coming from the Department of Defense. Department of War, they're coming from the Department of War anyways. They're coming through the operators, they're coming through the OPLANs, Complans. They're through the whole process to begin with. So you're gonna know what the commander's end effect is gonna be. And so yeah, you're involved in a lot of it. So but the Muqtada al-Sadr case is hilarious, because we were literally, and like I said, we were literally wandering around going, are we gonna which one are we posting? Which one aren't we posting? There was, I would say, for a PSYOP guy, there was pucker factor on not dropping the wrong lead. Like we had literally kill, yes. Not kill, no. Like it's like we literally had there's another PSYOP team that was in Kirkuk that was telling me that they literally had fucking dead, alive. There were methods of not posting or not sharing or not disseminating, because we were wondering, is JSOC, are the boys going to go get him and fucking take his ass out? Which I think we should have wholeheartedly fucking took his ass out. And so that whole Muqtada al-Sadr thing, that's why it was important in timing that we are involved in the plan. We are involved in it. If you're not involved in the plan, it's either because they don't feel that PSYOP at the time would be effective in that mission if they're doing like a cordon or something like that, unless you need PSYOP speaker support, like loudspeaker support, to keep civilian non-interference away from the cordon. So if all of a sudden you saw a whole shitload of fucking Bradleys and some M1 Abrams show up, and all of a sudden you hear, make sure you stay the fuck out the way, blah, blah, you're gonna get killed. That's the PSYOP truck normally posting that shit out. And the same thing with the Battle of Fallujah. So a lot of those situations right there, it's all dependent. It's all mission dependent, and a lot of it. So yes, we are involved. I mean, we'd have to, you know what I mean? So like when we did the pre-training, with 10th SF, when we do training with 5th Group, and we do training with other special forces units, and we see the assessments and we see whatever, we're like, okay, so if this attachment gets taken out, who's next? Who's up on the bench? So.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Sorry, I was replying to my long guy's been here doing landscaping and a lot of stuff. And he was telling me that he had to run, that he wasn't leaving, not finishing the job. Okay. But actually, as we start to wrap up this first episode, I wanted to do two things here. First of all, I wanted to kind of define what our goals are so people kind of know. There are some things, and I'll just come out and say it because I think if everyone knows, maybe they'll find a way to back and support us. But I'm trying to look at an opportunity for us to be able to go and film at Bragg at the two museums there, the JFK Special Warfare Museum, the Airborne and Infantry Museum, and then.
Oh, you're talking about the one in Fayetteville, downtown Fayetteville.
Yeah. Because there's two on post, and then one.
The Special Warfare Museum on Fort Bragg, and then there's okay. I think you might want to re-say that. I think you might say, because I want to make sure that the individuals that want to speak with you are good to go with the scheduling. So maybe you want to rephrase that line by saying, "Hey, we're going to be working with," or you might say, "We might be we will be interviewing individuals that." Are special warfare. I don't know how you want to reword it, because what I don't want to say is like, I wanted to go out and say, hey, Fort Bragg, and then Fort Bragg's like, wait, they're going to hit me up and say, Ken, what the fuck you volunteering this for? I'm like, no, I don't want it to get misunderstood.
So I guess in a way I do want to rephrase it. There are some things, because I've been there a couple times. I'd like to have like some B-roll, like show. When we're talking about something, it will show, hey, if you want to go like deep dive, you can go to the museum, and there is a whole thing about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I don't know. Maybe if you want, I can send you via X. I got a ton of pictures of the museums already. So of the Special Warfare one with all the Psy-War stuff like that. So
the last time that we went was we went in 2024. We didn't go last year, did we? He's not paying attention. But when we went there, there was somebody from DOD at the time, just to be clear so people understand that I'm using the right phrase for the time. We pulled up right as the one in Fayetteville, right as they were opening, or like 10 minutes before they were opening. So there's nobody else in the parking lot. We pulled into the parking lot, and I backed into a parking space, and like 6 Tahoes with blacked out windows, all flying to the parking lot, taking different. And I'm sitting there, and I look through the windshield of one of them, and I see that there's 2 people in the front, and they're both in fucking suits. And I looked at the kids, and I was like, I don't know that we're going to be able to go in. I think somebody important's here, and I think that they're going to be walking, like they're going to go clear through it. So we walked up as they opened the doors. That nobody had gotten out of the SUVs or anything like that yet. And I walked up to the front desk right there. Because the kids have the little passports where they can get them like stamped and stuff. Yep. So I walked up, and we're like, is something going on? The people at the desk are like, I don't know. And we're like, it's open. You can just go in. So we go and we walk in, and we're following, the normal laid out path. And then all of a sudden there's people coming around us one way, and then there's guys coming back the other way. So they were going through and clean sweep. They didn't tell us we couldn't do anything. They didn't say anything to us. We were kind of in and out there pretty quickly.
Probably just doing a route recon or a site recon or something like that.
But I was like, man, it was weird. It's like we pulled in, the parking lot was empty. We pulled in, then all of a sudden we're swarmed. And I was like,
well, I will. Yeah, I was about to say, I will say this, because of the units that are there, Fayetteville is an awesome training ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like just for like if you want to do some specific techniques or something like that, or you want to test something or like that. The Fayetteville community is really accommodating too. A lot of stuff they'll like, hey, you have the Special Forces qualification course, the PSYOP qualification course, and the Civil Affairs qualification course that do exercises there within the community. And near Fort Bragg, and the Fayetteville community is incredible. The great people that'll assist in training. All you gotta do is ask, hey, we're gonna land a Little Bird right here or a Black Hawk right here, and you're gonna hear some speaker noises and shit. Is it okay if we can, and some of them are like, hell yeah, buddy, raise hell, praise hell, can I watch, and then they'll let you watch. And they're like I said, they're great people, a great community out there, Moore County, Cumberland County. But yeah, I would, and that's the thing is that we just barely scratched the surface of the first episode. I think we need to do like a first episode 2 or first episode A and B, because we're still scratching the top. You know what I mean? So
some of the other goals, like you had reached out to some people. So, one of the things that I would like to do, and I'm not saying that any of these things are going to come true, because we're still kind of flushing it out. Jumping into this, getting the ball rolling, is I want to kind of do some documentary style interviews, flush out some information, both about specific things that have happened over the history of PSYOPs, but also get more of the history and how PSYOPs works, as well as kind of bringing in some more of the history and culture and things like that. So if you guys notice that some of these episodes are more podcasty like this, and then other ones are more interview documentary, there might be a little bit of back and forth, and there might be complementary episodes to go with each thing. It's going to come down to people's availability and time. And like Ken said, a lot of people are really accommodating. So we'll see how things go. Second to last thing that I want to do, I brought in some tinfoil. Okay.
Oh, snap.
I brought what I think is in that. So I wanted to ask if you could give me a tutorial to make a proper hat.
Well, generally it's like if it's something like that, if you could just grab if you want to tear a little bit out, you can make a full one, but generally with like a sheet you have, you just tear. So
it doesn't have to be omnidirectional?
No, because if you I have the little pip on here on the top, so I can grab it, and I can just put it on any headgear like that on my visor,
all right.
like that. So you just go ahead.
My next question then.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it shiny side or flat side out?
Flat. Shiny side goes out. Flat side goes in.
Okay.
So that's the omnidirectional portion of it.
Okay, so just start
just
here,
like that. Yep,
like
just
a bandana.
Right there. Go back like a bandana, and then crumple it towards the top in the back of the end, almost like you're doing a ponytail. There you go.
Does it need to cover the ears?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Because you got to be able to hear what you're waving. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's fair.
So
That's
you got to hear.
Right.
So
how do I look?
And also, all right, very good. We'll have to ask our friend Alex Jones what he says when he comes across the net and sees our shit. Because
on the tinfoil hat note, there's a movie that came out in Australia, and I stumbled upon it, and I just watched it last weekend with one of the teenage daughters, and oh my God, there's a tinfoil hat scene in it. Like one of the characters, he sees somebody else, like a paranoid schizophrenic kind of guy doing it, and he's like, oh, that guy's weird. And then it like turns out it's like what saves his life in the movies is like wearing the tinfoil hat underneath his boonie cap. And oh my God, it's called the Super Progressive movie.
I have to watch it.
I highly recommend anybody
to watch that now.
It is absolutely hilarious.
I will say this, a lot of tinfoil that I see out there when it comes about PSYOP or when it comes about PSYOP involvement, I will say this. Y'all motherfuckers are close. You're close. You guys are, some of the stuff that I get questioned on, I'm like, okay, either this person really smart and figure it out, or that somebody else is talking, or somebody's talking to them. Because that's usually what it is. It's because most PSYOPers, I think a lot of us were, how do I say, we really hit the quiet professional phase of it and not saying much of what we do, and that good in some ways, but also led to the detriment of what we are. Because then now we have other people telling us our stories. So that's another reason why I agreed to knock out this the PSYOP tales, because it just if anything else, right here we just scratched the surface. The next portion is going to be deep, like you said, deep in the history when you talk about whatever. There's also my experiences and what I've done, and it's like I said, it's I could not have been where I am at today without some of the with most of the professional men and women in the PSYOP regiment that have just done. Like I said, I'm in awe. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, Ken, you're a great PSYOPer. You do this." I'm like, "No, bro. There's some kids out there that will blow you away."
On a scale of those guys being kind of top tier, and then the World War II era, what were they? They were like stage actor, like college students.
You're talking about the Ghost. You're talking about the Ghost Army. You're talking about how the Ghost Army were whatever. You got to remember that it's all coming full circle now. PSYOPception. It's all coming circle. It's a lot of the kids that we're bringing into the regiment are those artists, are those creators, are those filmmakers, are those hackers or dissemination guys or systems engineers, gals that do this stuff. So, or cyber specialists, cyber warfare guys. So a lot of it already, it's coming full circle that the Ghost Army, which is why we have a resurgence of the lore, the Ghost Army is coming back and to its original intent, where deception. This deception, is it there? Is it not? Is it real? You don't know, because there'll be a cyber behind you, telling you, yeah, that's fake. And let me knock this down. Let me show you. Then people are like, holy crap. I just saw the making of the Dunkirk, that movie Dunkirk.
Yep.
I saw the making of it. A lot of us were duped. Some of the scenes where the guys are lined up on the beach, cardboard cutouts. Some of the scenes where yeah, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So I was like going through YouTube and looking at all the scenes, and then it's posted on YouTube now. But I was watching, the making of Dunkirk and how they used Ghost Army like techniques, because no one wanted legit fucking. I mean, that's the thing too. The craft of filmmaking. That's why I don't like AI. That's why I don't like CGI. I mean, I'm okay with CGI supplementing real practical effects. Like, that's why George Lucas knocked out of the park with Star Wars, because it was used practical effects that looked like it could possibly be, it could be believable. It could be, whatever. Obviously with the techniques of CGI and computer graphics, he went nuts over fucking, on episode 1, went hog wild with the use of CGI, which I think was probably his proof of concept to let everybody know that, yes, you can have it done. Or Jurassic Park with Steven Spielberg with those techniques as well. A lot of stuff that you see out there that are being used in filmmaking, a lot of it we use as well. And that, when we hit the Hollywood portion of it, the Hollywood and gaming portion of it, everyone's gonna be like, holy crap. That was one of the saying. I would say the Ghost Army this way, top tier. Where I'm at, I'm kind of like flinging around in the middle. I always tell people that, you ever see that movie Jumanji, and you see that all these animals are fucking running down the street, and you see that fat rhino? Okay, that's me, right? I'm like, keeping up with everybody. I can still do the gig, but I'm keeping up. I'm right behind you. You know what I mean? But the kids out right now, phenomenal troops we have in the PSYOP regiment, and I cannot. Like I said, some of them I've been their first sergeant, or I've been their detachment sergeant. And I'm just in awe at some of the stuff that they can do. Some of the things that we used to talk about in team rooms back in the day, these kids are fucking just knocking it out, like I said. So, but yeah, I'm just an IO guy. I'm just a PSYOP guy. I brag, joke around about the Grand Admiral propaganda. That was given to me because there was a kid on a deployment who gave me that name, and the same thing with the IO guy. My boss gave me that name, and so those are the names that stuck. But yeah, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal stuff. Some of the techniques that we have now, you wouldn't even think that it was the OSS. Some of the stuff of the OSS, the Office of War Information, OSS stuff. OSS. PSYOP. Now, people don't like to admit it. PSYOP was that it was in D-Day. PSYOP was in World War I. PSYOP was in World War II. At every phase for 100 years, when it was considered a function in the Army for 100 years. They celebrated the 100th anniversary was in 2018. So yeah, so it was that's when we were in doctrine. So, but yeah, I can't wait. Especially when the future, man, sky's the limit.
Okay. Well, Ken, I appreciate you coming on, especially with our 30 plus minutes of technical difficulties leading into the episode.
I think we would have been able to go into more detail if we didn't have that, but maybe that's the second portion of it. So
hopefully.
Yeah.
Next time.
Exactly.
No problems.
Exactly.
But that's been the theme of the Trunk Tale since day one. You know, if we didn't have some sort of issue to begin with. But yeah, no, I think we've got it pretty much figured out. For those of you watching either the short or long version of the episode, there is an alternate form of this episode currently right now. I definitely think that you should go back and watch the long version of the episode. If you are sharing this with somebody who just wants the meat and potatoes and doesn't want the talking about AI and the fun stuff in the beginning of it, share the short version of the episode. They're both available on every platform. And Ken hasn't heard this yet, but you guys are hearing this, the intros and outros for this for the first time. Ken will hear it before the episode comes out, but you guys are hearing it for the first time. Give us some feedback. Let me know if you like those intros and outros. I personally think I did a good job. I mean, I was never in the PSYOP community, so maybe you're gonna tell me I'm dumb and stupid, but
never, man, never. I would never do that.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to continuing this series. And
Yep.
All right, thank you very much for coming on.
All right, man.
All right, bye everyone.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin. Citizens of the United States, stand by your sets and listen closely. From factory floor to farm field, from city street to lonely watchpost, a new kind of battle is being fought across the world. Not with shell fire alone, not with bomber wings alone, but with whispers, with rumors, with planted stories, with fear itself. Yes, fear. For the enemy has learned that a lie, spoken at the proper hour, may travel faster than a battalion. A scrap of doubt dropped into the public mind may do the work of sabotage without a single shot being fired. The modern battlefield is no longer confined to land, sea, and sky. It now marches through the ear, across the wire, and into the American home by radio. You have heard it before, perhaps without knowing, the soft voice in the dark, the message that seems harmless, the tale that makes a good man hesitate, a good woman worry, a nation look over its shoulder. This is the business of influence. This is the machinery of morale. This is psychological warfare. And now, in a time when memory grows short and old lessons gather dust, two voices step forward to remind America what was done, how it was done, and why it mattered. The Trunk Tales, with Drew Lemax and Sergeant Major Kenneth Ramos, will be educating America on the history of psychological operations. They will open the old files. They will lift the canvas on the hidden stagecraft of war. They will speak of black operations and white leaflets, of phantom armies and carefully aimed words, of broadcasts meant to steady the nerve of allies and unman the will of enemies. They will trace the line from crude whisper campaigns to the polished weapon of suggestion. Take heed, America, for while guns may rust and uniforms may fade, the battle for the mind is never truly over. So keep your dial tuned, keep your wits about you, and remember this well. Nations are not only conquered by force, they may be softened by confusion, divided by suspicion, and weakened by stories dressed as truth. This is your signal. This is your warning. This is your invitation to listen. The Trunk Tales, with Drew Lemax and Sergeant Major Kenneth Ramos. The subject is psychological operations. The hour is now.